My company is ThunderLily. We're based in New York, and we are artist engineers. We're a small group, and we deal in possibilities. So the possibilities, we say, that live at the intersection of fashion and technology. So as artists and engineers, we have to solve problems, as you know, through working with Arduinos, but we also have to raise questions as well. And we get invited to a lot of exhibitions and tech events to raise questions like how we can make the world a better place, which sounds like a bit of a tall order for fashion, but our goal is to perhaps change the world for one person, change how two people interact with their environment through their clothes, or perhaps a group of people. And we feel if we can change the world for anybody, then we have indeed made the world a better place. So we work a lot on collaborations with tech companies or with designers, with events, with a lot of runway shows. So I have two sets of clothing here. I have robotic clothing and I have musical clothing. So the robotic clothing, I was approached by a technology company that they wanted to try out their hardware in soft fashion. And they tasked me to come up with some concepts on diversity and inclusion. So I had to produce 3 dresses that addressed this. So I'll take you over here. The first one that we have is this lady. And I wanted to look at safety for women. So how can women dress as they want, feel comfortable, and feel safe? So if you are traveling, if you're walking home from an event in a gown, you want to feel safe. So the dress was designed to have a proximity sensor. So if somebody is getting close to you, then you have a warning sign that the shoulder will start to shake and quiver the closer somebody gets to you. So you don't have to be looking over your shoulder.
How close do they have to be to get any motion from?
Well, so I have it set on an on-off switch for the runway, but you can set a proximity sensor to, it depends what sort of sensor you're using.
Okay.
But if you look at lights that you have outside a house, if you had movement behind you, so not a huge distance, but enough that it could make you feel more comfortable. And the idea is really to, again, raise questions around safety and how you can use clothing to change how you interact with your environment. So the second one, then I was looking at people who had different levels of ability and how we can use clothes to make, say, somebody who's in a wheelchair feel more beautiful and give them control over their environment as well. So creating clothes that could give them more power. So supposing somebody is in a wheelchair and their carer steps away for a few minutes, and it starts to rain, they could put their hood up if they had mobility. I mean, obviously, you can change how it operates according to the one person, but it's raising a question for adaptable clothing. Perhaps it's rainy, perhaps it's sunny, but it gives somebody more control over their environment. And so the third one in this series doesn't actually really have any great moral purpose at all. It's more of a feat of engineering. But looking at how we can make our clothes work. So it was designed as a night flowering skirt. So with a photo sensor, when it gets dark, then the skirt can open, and then when skirt can close again. But looking at how you can incorporate these ideas of making your clothes move and change shape and be different at the touch of a switch.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So the other three items I have are all musical. So this was started by a collaboration with a music therapist at a large hospital, and he's doing research on sound and color, and how each note in an octave actually has color related to it. So I was playing with that idea. So we have this dress, which is the ensemble dress, and the speaker's really quiet. In my tiny studio, it sounds loud.
I can hear it though.
So I wrote some little compositions, 10-second compositions on GarageBand, and programmed them into here. So you could just change your mood by playing different tunes. Also, with this,
And the lights are built in, right?
yes, so we can also change
Yeah.
the color of it
Beautiful.
as well. So it's just sort of raising questions about how we can use our clothes to soothe us, to create our environment as well. This is a piano dress. So I was explaining to Adrian, it actually took over 2 years to develop and try and find different ways of having touch sensors. And the original ways that I was just using it, the touch sensors to create vibrations, but it was a very tinny, synthy sound. And then I found a sewable MP3 player, and again on GarageBand, I programmed in a Steinway piano. So the idea is how your clothing reflects your creativity, and how can you take your creativity with you as well? How can you self-soothe? How can you compose on the go? How can you share your ideas with somebody? So all concepts and possibilities.
Mm-hmm. I love the way you've integrated the shape so that it looks something like not only at the waist, but it's almost like a brooch.
Oh, yeah, and I wanted, so I love the workings of things. So I wanted to put it on the outside, and when you lift up the lid of a piano, and it's beautiful in there, the strings and the organization of it. So I wanted to really have the idea that it's on the outside rather than being hidden away. I think we should see more of the workings of them.
It's a beautiful aesthetic element, yeah.
And so the guitar dress, I was going to make it more of just a straight guitar, recording guitar sounds, but I've been working with a DJ who, she's also a cancer survivor, and she is looking at how music is really important to a person's recovery, and how you can, when you're, as a survivor, if you're stressed or if you're down, how can you use music? If you have no musical talent, how can you use music to make yourself feel better? Because she thinks it's something that can just help everybody. So I've effectively turned the dress into a synthesizer. I created keys over here. So instead of being just a simple guitar, it could be a guitar dress. It could be just the guitar that we can play. Or we can play any other instrument because it already the sounds good. You need zero musical talent at all. And on GarageBand then we can do anything.
That's very nice.
So and by working with the technology that somebody else has built and how we can integrate with it, you have a whole range of sounds, and you can just have 6 keys and you can make something that sounds good. And then on GarageBand you can record that as well. So looking at how how fashion is not just an expression of who we are, but how the music really integrates with that and how it can enhance our environment.